Hi, this is Spark Your Balance Naturally, and I'm very happy to welcome Kathi Keville to interview now. Hello, Kathi.
Hello?
I'm very happy that you actually accepted the interview meeting today. And Kathi is internationally known aromatherapist and herbalist, and she is actually conducting the seminars for medicinal herbs and aromatherapy around North America and Europe for over 40 years. And she is the
Yeah.
author of 16 books internationally published as well. And what I am impressed by is her garden of more than 500 species. I hope that I
Yes, it's
did it
beautiful.
correctly. So I'm very happy that you are here today. And I guess that you have a lot to share about how we can actually use the herbs and then maybe aromatherapy as a part of the herbal medicine to provide us more calm feelings and more balance into our lives.
Yes, yeah. I've always been interested in the aromatic plants in the garden,
Mm-hmm.
even before I became an herbalist. And I've also investigated a lot into history. I think that really aromatherapy was part of herbalism until more recently, where we've actually divided the two a little bit more. But
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the old books, Gerard, very popular herbalist from hundreds of years ago, that's an example of just talking about the fragrance of the plants and how they affect us emotionally. One
Mm-hmm.
thing I began to think about is that we used to drink tea, well, our ancestors did, until maybe about 20 years ago, tea was the most popular way to actually ingest your medicine. And then that, of course, that aroma would just fill the air. And so you would have an aromatherapy experience with whatever herb tea that you were drinking. And so it makes a wonderful combination to think about that you can drink your herb tea and then have all of the experiences that happen in the brain at the same time from those fragrances. Comes in from all different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And I should add that it would be nice for people more often these days to sit down and drink their medicine. I know we're all in a big hurry mostly and don't have a lot of time to really contemplate what we're healing. But it might be a good idea to try that.
Mm-hmm. So basically, also from the history which is coming, that having a tea time in the afternoon, it has really a lot more benefits than just the tea itself.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
And still in some cultures that happens, but it'd be something nice to bring back. A lot of times with my clients, when I suggest take an aromatherapy, whatever I've suggested for them, and then to also sit down with the herb tea, they laugh, thinking that when are they ever going to have time to do that?
Yeah.
But I convince them to, and it really does make a difference. It's like sitting with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and your problems, and sitting down with what you're really trying to heal, and putting a little more focus on that. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, that would be my suggestion for everyone after
Mm-hmm.
this, to make yourself a nice cup of tea and sit down and reflect.
Yeah, absolutely. This awareness and just staying with ourselves for a moment is definitely a first step. And for the herb tea, is there anything specific that you would recommend?
There's so many choices. It depends on what you're trying to work on. But if we want to look at the combination of using herbalism with aromatherapy, then of course we might be going to things like chamomile tea or a lavender tea. Both of those have such a relaxing effect. And, in this day and age, and especially now during the pandemic, people are looking for things to help with their anxiety, help with relaxation, and that type of thing. So having the tea, then, as I was saying, then you take in the aroma. I know I'm bypassing the world of essential oils and little vials, but again, if we look into history, we find that herb gardens were really where people went for most of their aromatherapy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see designs of old gardens where there's benches, and then there's honeysuckle, or there's roses that are cascading over the top of the bench. And this was all an intention that people would go to these areas, they would be able to smell, and it would be this wonderful way to actually heal your mind and body, and of course, soul as well.
Yeah, amazing. And these moments in the garden, especially in general, are amazing. You know your part, since you have a really big one.
I do, but I was inspired by that, and I actually have benches everywhere
Hmm.
for people to go sit. And I I often tell my clients, if you have a little more time, and again, there's that issue of us always being so busy, but if you have a little bit more time, we'll do a consult, but then you can go out into the garden and you can just sit wherever you want to. It used to be believed, and I believe that now, that people will be attracted to the fragrance that they need,
Hmm.
and it will go to, whatever really what they love at that moment. There's this whole concept in medieval gardens where the chamomile bed would be the most important thing for the ailing person. The
Hmm.
chamomile bed is actually a bench. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of these,
No.
but the bench itself, the seat, is chamomile, Roman chamomile,
Hmm.
not the German chamomile that we're more likely to use in aromatherapy, but the Roman has a wonderful chamomile scent to it, and it's also very, very relaxing and soothing to an individual. So the seat is made out of the chamomile, and then the rest of the structure is stone. And you sit there or you lay down. And the idea was that just by sitting on the bench or laying down on it would give you this incredible smell of chamomile that would surround you. So I have had one built here, and I have my own chamomile bench. And
Oh.
aromatherapy seminars, most of them are in a time where there's good weather in early fall, and we have them outside, and the chamomile bench is right around the corner from the outside classroom.
Hmm.
So if anybody has a stressful moment, they can just run over there, lay down, and completely relax. The only problem is that usually we have to go get them to
Yeah.
start the class again because they're so relaxed. They often will fall asleep on the chamomile.
Okay. So,
And
for example, now since we are staying at home, if we have the stressed out moment or some anxiety, how can we help ourselves if we don't have the bench?
yes, what you could have the chamomile.
Yes.
So usually we would use the German chamomile. We could go back to the tea.
Hmm.
There's a lot of different aspects of using it. Of course, a body oil, hand lotion that has lavender, chamomile, marjoram, oils like that in it would be excellent. I love the idea of just making an eye pillow, and
Hmm.
that could be as simple as just being the lavender and the chamomile together and putting it over the eyes, laying down for a few minutes, taking a moment just to, again, relax and reflect.
Hmm.
And for people that are finding that they're at home more often, this is really giving us an opportunity to do more of that reflection and especially relaxation. There, the studies on aromas are amazing these days. They're investigating how they affect the brain and especially neurotransmitters. We've known, or aromatherapists and herbalists have known for hundreds and hundreds of years how these work, but now we actually have some science behind it to
Hmm.
tell us.
Hmm.
So, for instance, oils that would increase GABA, which lavender, rose would be a really good example. Lemongrass, curiously enough, is one of them.
Hmm.
So I put the blends together that are specific for different neurotransmitter activities and use these as they could be a massage oil, but they can also just be an anointing oil.
Hmm.
And so to take the herbs out of the garden and infuse them, or to take the essential oils and put them together in a combination. I usually use about 8 drops per ounce myself,
Hmm.
sometimes less, because I think those very subtle fragrances are what really are good and calming for us. You don't really need a lot. You
Yeah.
just need it to waft around,
Mhm.
waft, raft, raft, no, waft,
Yeah. So
float.
can you
Either
say
way, it's floating.
can you say the blend again? So for the 30 ml or 1 ounce, you would use 8 drops, and how many of each? You mentioned lemongrass, rose, and German chamomile, or
Yes, so I'll have to do it off the top of my head and make it up. But maybe you can help me and you can refine it a little bit. So let me think. So I probably, let's see, so I'm looking at my list here.
Mhm.
Um, I would just use 3 drops of lemongrass, probably 1 of chamomile, quite strong.
Mhm.
And I'd say 2 of rose. And
Mhm.
then I would do the rest with lavender to
Yeah,
smooth
that's
out that
beautiful.
the fragrance of that formula.
Mhm. That's beautiful.
Um, so that would be for specifically helping GABA, which is something that people take supplements of sometimes,
Mhm.
but it's something that we can naturally create amazingly enough through aromatherapy. And it's used for helping people sleep. It's
Mhm.
used for helping people with anxiety problems and also depression.
Mhm.
So this would be something that my prescription would be to just sniff it several times a day, or
Mhm.
when in need, of course.
Mhm.
There's some other oils that work on GABA too. One of them is calamus. It's quite a strong oil, but for people that know how to use it, you could maybe put a half a drop in that formula to replace some of the lavender.
Mhm.
And it's used in perfume. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's used in perfume a lot, very heady. But
Yeah.
part of the reason it's so heady is because of its effect on the brain and neurotransmitters. And
Mhm.
then gardenia.
Mhm.
So getting a real gardenia oil is not going to be an easy thing. It would be
Okay.
so expensive. But from one of my books, I have a picture.
Okay. Oh,
This is
very
from my
nice.
garden. I love this. Yeah, this is out of my book called The Aromatherapy Garden.
Mhm.
And what I suggest in the book is there are fragrances like this that are almost unobtainable to most people, but you can grow them.
Mhm.
And you can grow all of these different plants that I've been talking about. It might depend a little bit on your location in the world, but that's an idea. If you want to start thinking about using aromatherapy in the garden, I would plant whatever you actually use the most.
Mhm.
So whatever those plants are, then you have them right out your back door.
Yeah, I mean that's very helpful. And maybe you have mentioned that this blend also for using on our body. Maybe we can use it as our own natural perfume within the day to really have like prescription for ourselves as a prevention. Would that be helpful?
Yes, that's I think of an anointing oil because you can make a perfume, and that would be an excellent start for putting a perfume together. I might add, oh, I don't know, maybe some frankincense or something like that, which is also incredibly relaxing to the mind. But if you're not really a perfume maker and don't want to go to all that trouble, people can make anointing oil, and anointing oil is really just dabbing on the oil and using it as perfume.
Yes.
And if you want to be creative, some people could put that anointing oil wherever it's most needed, say on the third eye or on the temples or the throat chakra or something like that.
Yeah.
It's fun to experiment. And also there are books out there that do talk about the different neurotransmitters and how these different oils affect them. So you can actually put together different combinations. So I have a couple here
Perfect.
to show you. So to lower cortisol. So cortisol is what happens when we get stressed out or we feel over anxious. Then you could put together lavender. I'm overusing lavender, but it's so important for these types of situations. And then neroli, and then rosemary. So
Mhm.
those are the specific ones. You could always throw something else in if you wanted to. If you wanted a formula for that, again, maybe you should help me out here. I don't
Yes.
know. I usually, for one, I do my formulas for 1 ounce usually.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
have a very standard way. So I would think that there are maybe 2 drops of neroli, 2 drops of, no, 1 drop of rosemary. It's quite strong. And then
Hmm.
the rest would be lavender again,
Yes. Hmm.
just off the top of my head. So what
Yes.
do you think about that
I
one?
think it sounds really nice. Maybe I will switch a little bit. Maybe if it's in the morning, I will add 2 drops of rosemary because it's so uplifting for our minds to start working as well. So maybe we can switch the blend for the morning and for the evening time. Yeah.
Indeed, yes. So, yes, well, I make so many blends. I have, I bet you do, there's things sitting all over the house. Little change here, a little change there, but blending is one of my favorite things to do. So,
Hmm.
I enjoy it. In a bottle, and then also blending plants by placing them together in the garden is another way that I do that as well.
Yeah.
So let's see, for adrenaline to lower that fight or flight that sometimes will just come up.
Hmm.
Usually the anxiety will hit, and then it turns into a little bit more panic sometimes. Very specific for that are patchouli and rose.
Hmm.
Not everybody likes patchouli,
Yeah, I
so
know.
that's
But together with
a little
Rose,
bit.
I think it's manageable for everyone.
Yeah, rose does that. And again, you can mix these with other of your favorite oils. A citrus might be really nice in this combination to change the balance. All the citrus are used for anxiety.
Hmm.
So it doesn't matter which one you choose. For depression also, anxiety is really considered a form of depression. So you'll find that most of them will do double duty. And just regular feel better, even if you just feel grumpy, types of oils that you can use. So you can go to the bergamot, neroli if you're feeling sophisticated that day and want something elegant, but also grapefruit
Hmm.
and lemon and those types of oils work very well.
Hmm.
People tell me before they study aromatherapy, they always wondered why when you peel an orange, it makes you feel so good even
Yes.
before you eat it.
Yes.
And it's because of all those little essential oils bouncing off of that skin into the air.
Yes, yes, it's amazing. And I would say that definitely just preparing your blend somehow is a part of the relaxation process already. Even if you don't smell it, I mean, that fun around it, it's just taking care of yourself and it's really already starting process of calming down and just staying here for the moment.
Mhm.
Yeah. How about the smelling oils, maybe for the diffuser? And maybe can you speak a little bit about using it as a topical blend and then using it as a inhalation blend, for example?
Well, of course, the main thing is to be able to smell it. That's why the garden works, and that's
Yeah.
why a diffuser works. So, as far as how you use them, but then there's also, of course, the fragrant pillow that you can
Hmm.
use. And then another method that I really like is just hand lotion. So there's been a lot of people. I don't want to really point out my family too much, but
Okay.
people in my family that don't really understand aromatherapy. Everybody understands hand lotion. It's great.
Yes.
So I always have some just unscented, very good quality, non-synthetic, hand lotion around, so that for those people I can put a blend in there of whatever they need. So that's been wonderful for anxiety. So there's
Hmm.
something nervousness and stress right now. It's something that's easy to send people, so that's an advantage right there. You don't have to explain how to use it. and they'll love it so much they'll use it several times a day. And of course, what they're going to do is they're going to put it on their hands, they're going to smell it,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to give themselves an aromatherapy treatment right there.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the specifics of which technique to use, I think that it just is whatever people love to do,
Yeah.
and they should just experiment out, or putting a few drops in your bath.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, I have to admit that's really nice, especially before the bedtime, because I mean, essential oils are helping us a lot in maybe being calm to go to bed to sleep, because sleep is one of the very important pillars to stay healthy and calm and balanced. Otherwise, we are just wreck. Yeah.
That's right, yes. And I'm from California, so it may be no surprise I have a hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
And oils are great in the hot tub. As
Mm-hmm.
long as they're pure oil, they're not mixed with a fixed oil, which would clog the works. They
Mm-hmm.
actually clean it. And in my hot tub, I use essential oils instead of the chemicals. The man came to fix my hot tub and he said, I don't know if you'd be into this, but people around here a lot are using essential oils like lavender to keep their hot tubs clean. And I laughed and I said, I wonder where they got that idea. My students.
Yes, yes. So very nice. Yes, thank you very much. I know that you are the author of 16 books. Maybe if we don't have any, but we would like to have one, which is the one that you would recommend to get as the first one?
Um, if you like to make things like I do, I would say Aromatherapy, the Complete Guide.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote that with another aromatherapist, Mindy Green, and that we wrote it a while ago. It has been updated, and it still is one of the most popular selling aromatherapy guides for actually creating things. I
Mm-hmm.
have my brand new book that just came out is very small.
I like that.
So it's good for people that are just a little interested, or for people that are so interested they want to carry something around in their pocket. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a pocket guide, and also just something that is really good for very quick reference.
Absolutely
And I
wonderful.
showed you the aromatherapy garden book. So that would be not just for people who have gardens, but anybody that would like to use plants
Mm-hmm.
as their source of getting the aroma.
Mm-hmm. I have one more question regarding gardening. Um, for the people who don't have garden but would like to use gardening just at home in the apartment, are there a lot of plants that are actually survivable at home or in the balcony that we can still maybe use this gardening methodology?
The balcony is great. Uh, yes, in fact, there's you see a lot of pictures of basil on Italian balconies,
Yes.
or lavender on French balconies. So yes, balconies will do it. Most of these really you can grow in pots, and it's something that if you just want a few plants, but can you imagine how nice it is to just go out and clip something? And the basil may be going in food, but then you can also use it for aromatherapy. So, it's something that actually it works a little bit like rose and bay to stimulate your mind. So if you're trying to get some work done or you want to focus on something, then you have your plant right there. And I
Mm-hmm.
love to have a sprig of rosemary always by my computer because I often need it. And that little sniff is what needs to happen to do the trick.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And I still will come back to the gardening because I feel once we have it, it's not only the healing of the plant, but also the healing of playing around with that plant
Oh,
to
yes,
really take
yes.
care of that and have this connection with the nature. So this is a real trick around. It's a like aromatherapy as a whole.
I know. I'll think, oh, I'm out here working so hard weeding, but I'm weeding around clary sage. And
Yeah.
I'm feeling euphoric. And I think this is a very good way to work, to be able to go from one aromatic plant to the other to take care of them and
Mhm,
then to harvest them as well. Of course,
mhm,
that's when you get the full fragrance. And I have several distillers here. So I harvest the plants fresh and then distill them.
mhm,
I find that with a small distiller, that you don't get a lot of essential oil, but the quality of hydrosol that you get is phenomenal. And
mhm.
that's something that there's a lot of hydrosol around here getting splashed on faces and being used also in cooking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hydrosols are amazing. So wonderful to have it like a small distiller just around. I will probably start to look around for some uh, just right from tomorrow. Thank you very much, Kathy, for your wonderful insights and the little teachings on aromatherapy, and also to share your books. And we can all have a look to find them to get the deeper insights. At the end, is there anything else that you would like to share as maybe self-care tip for ourselves for these days to keep balanced?
Just that it's um, it's such a good time now to start playing around with all of these projects, these aromatherapy projects. And if you think you've exhausted everything that there is, you probably haven't. There's so much to learn. So I would suggest getting a good book, reading a lot of recipes, learning to create your own.
Mhm.
And then, of course, that project of starting your own garden, even if it's only on a balcony.
Mhm. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I wish you a great day and keep doing wonderful work.
You too.
Thank you. Bye
Yeah.
bye.